here. It's a hometown matchup here in our top 8. Syed of Team Lotus Box from the Atlanta area. Robert Mendoza, also in the Atlanta area from Decatur, just east of the city. Imagine these two might know each other and play some.
Yeah. Zan, of course, been putting up very good results on the tour here.
He's on the play. Both players have kept, and we are going.
Yes. This cracking of the fetch means we're either going to have a Glistener for a Noble Hierarch. Both great ways to start the game. Really nice to be informed that your opponent's on burn. Basic Forest, a relatively easy choice in this matchup.
If you're just joining us now, it's been an interesting tournament this weekend. 7 different decks in the top 8. Day 2, no deck with more than 4 copies. So the format has been diverse, but it's also been very proactive. You look at our top 8, and we have 7 proactive decks and then blue-white control. So we're going to see some quick magic.
Oh, yeah. About what you expect from Modern.
7 different proactive decks?
Yep.
There we go.
7 proactive decks, the format. That was the original. That was the working title. It was overextended, then it was 7 proactive decks, the format. Now, today, we call it Modern.
Monastery Sister hits Zan down to 18. Now we go land, groundswell from Zan. We're going to pump that Glistener Elf up to 5/5. Hit it in there, 5 poison onto Robert.
Yep, yeah, it's always good as the Infect player to get in that big damage when you know that it's going to connect, and he has the backup Inkmoth Nexus.
Well, yeah, this could even win through a Searing Blaze. Robert could blaze. Zan could go land, activate groundswell, kill you.
Yep. Do you know that Zan at least has a second Inkmoth Nexus for lands in hand? If there is another thing like groundswell, he would be possibly just off the green source for that.
On our backup match, Game 1, complete Drake Sasser on Titan Shift. Takes Game 1 over Houston Norton.
That was pretty quick. And if that game's going to go quick, it's going to be going in Valakut's favor.
Yeah, sometimes when you play that from the Valakut side, they don't cast any spells.
Yeah.
Because they just draw removal, and they're like, oh, okay, make some land drops.
Yeah. Path your Sakura Tribe Elder.
Then we get to have a nice argument over whether I should sacrifice it or let it get pathed. That kind of argument that no one cares about.
Right. No shortage of those on the Magic scene. Let me tell you.
They could play Tarmogoyf. Let's see. Or could also. it's just the worst.
And Robert missing a second land drop.
Oh, okay.
Just
Hits Zan again.
Spear.
Yeah, second Inkmoth for Zan. So now he has to figure out the safest way to walk this in.
You definitely can just chip in with the Inkmoth that was already on the battlefield and the Glistener Elf.
I kind of like that. He'll just attack Glistener Elf. And he'll Mutagenic Growth it. Robert bolts. Zan have another pump spell. That should do it.
He's got to have something, right, with this attack?
Another Mutagenic Growth.
Right.
That's 5.
And
that's poisoned.
Forget about it.
And we'll compliments at 2.
Whatever.
We'll do 11 poison.
100 you.
Go to 16 poison. That means next game Robert starts at 6 poison. I think that's how that works.
I believe so. It's a rule they recently implemented. Yeah, they decided that Infect wasn't seeing enough play in tournaments, and so they instituted this new poison handicap rule.
So game 1 goes to Zan Syed. That's the type of hand on the play that can really do a number. And I think it shows the play draw difference. Imagine we have that, but Robert's on the play, and something like a Searing Blaze sticks. Different game.
You need 2 lands to cast a Searing Blaze.
Right, so I guess Robert doesn't have the second land.
Yeah.
But the fact that, Zan being on the play got him those extra 5 points right off the bat.
Yes, yeah, being on the play, definitely a virtue in the matchup. No secret there.
Sure. We look at the sideboards. Start with Robert Mendoza, now down a game. 3 Destructive Revelry. Those could, in theory, hit Inkmoth Nexus and could hit Ichor Claw Mirrors.
Yeah. We have 3 Path to Exile. That one definitely plays. Your burn spells that remove creatures, they can be dicey. It can be difficult to actually execute with a Lightning Bolt. So Path to Exile is something that's a little bit easier to execute. I don't think I like Ensnaring Bridge. A lot of these creatures are just attacking with just 1 power before they start coming in.
Yeah, I agree.
Not going to do too much. Searing Blood is reasonable. It costs 2 mana, which is rough, but it is another thing that can actually interact. So in the main deck, we have some Skull Cracks. Those don't really play. You don't love Boros Charm in the matchup either.
Yeah, so when I played Burn, what I like against Infect is that I start making my deck all cards that remove a creature and deal damage, because Infect's actually threat light. So yeah, I think I do want the Searing Bloods here.
Right. And some number of the Revelries They just make sense.
They hit Inkmoth Nexus. And remember, Zan's playing 2 Ichor Clummiers in addition to the Inkmoth, so they're actually pretty live. I don't think Zan's going to board out any number of threats.
Theoretically, if he was going to board one out, it would
be the mirror.
It would be the mirror. It could happen. Yeah, we'll take a look at what Zan has in his sideboard anyway.
Yeah, I guess if he wants to go a different line, he does have these 4 Invisible Stalkers. That seems a little much for the matchup. 2 Viridian Corruptor, 2 Nature's Claim, 2 Spellskite, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Spell Pierce, and 1 Wild Defiance.
And this is a spot where the Revelries definitely start to look better. One of Zan's better cards on the sideboard, those 2 Spellskites.
I like those,
Start hitting burn spells, so having a clean answer to that.
Actually, Wild Defiance probably comes in here as well.
Oh, definitely.
And that's another target.
Yep. And then the 2 spells, the Spell Pierce, given how much of Robert's interaction costs 2 mana, you're pretty likely to have a good window for that one.
How do you feel about Nature's Claim? It gains life, it stops Eidolon of the Great Revel, but it's a little reactive for the matchup.
There are situations where it can be quite good. I feel like the deck really wants a specific composition of things. That doesn't contribute to any of it. You want threat. You want answers. You don't really want to be blocking for your life total. You want to be blocking for your creatures. Nature's Claim doesn't really do any of the things you want to do. Gaining life is well and good. Makes sense that you want to gain life against burns, just specifically because the deck is so heavy on creatures and pump spells and wants to be proactive. That's why I would leave Nature's Claim on the bench.
Okay. Some updates from the field. Chad Harney and Adam Case going to Game 3, 1 game apiece. We actually have our first match result in, and it is a win for Primeval Titan. A strong 2-0 against Houston Norton. Drake Sasser's in the semifinals. I said we had 7 proactive decks and 1 reactive deck. Let's make it 7 and 0.
Yeah, 7 proactive decks the format. Back on it.
So pumped around, right? It's been a while since Primeval Titans won an open.
Yeah, when was the last time?
I don't know that it's happened.
All right.
I know it's happened. I just enough that I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I haven't covered it.
I know that I have covered Valakut decks in top 8s at tournaments, but
Absolutely.
I can't remember the last time it happened, just even a top 8.
Hey now.
I'm just saying.
It's a great deck.
Now, this might be an indictment of my memory more so than the deck. Yeah, who's to say? But, yeah, Valakut has been on a downswing.
A lot of your good matchups are starting to leave the format. He beat Blue-White. That was his good. And, he's actually good against Tron.
Yeah.
Good against Tron. He's reasonable against Hollow One. We do see Infect and KCI in this top 8. He'd really like to dodge both those.
Right.
Those are miserable.
Yeah, no thank you on those.
I think why you see players move away from Titan Shift is that your matchups are pretty swingy. I played this at the Open we had in Minneapolis. And, I got paired up against Green-Red Land Destruction. I lost.
Yeah, that tracks. I believe that. I believe everything you just told me.
We didn't win. And, there is some of that. The Infect matchup feels very similar. Your good matchups are, on the flip side, when you play a matchup-based deck, your good matchups, I played Jeskai Control once. That was great.
Yeah.
I'd play that again. It gives you some room to make errors, which is why I like to pick it up.
Right.
Didn't really.
I do like Sasser. He's not only playing a strategy that hasn't shown up too much. He's also just not bothering with the recent updates. He's not playing Bloodbraid Elf.
So Bloodbraid Elf was the one update. He's also not playing Solemn Simulacrum. We've seen some of that. He's really the streamlined build of the deck. He has extra main deck Sweltering Suns. That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And he has the extra land.
Just hyper-focused on doing his thing. Has some interaction, not much. Doesn't have a backup plan.
Not at all.
It's Valakut. That's what we're doing.
A lot of times, he doesn't even have. Sometimes you have a one of main deck Reclamation Sage, just so that you can fight with Blood Moon. There's actually enough decks in the format that it's not too punishing. Sometimes you'll just draw it against Hollow One or Affinity or.
Yeah.
None of that here. He's just 8 creatures, 4 Tri-Builder, 4 Titan.
All right, players drawing up their hands for game 2.
Zan's going to put his back. I'm all for aggressively mulliganing in this matchup. If we look at that last game, each player had at least 4 cards left in their hand when it ended.
Yeah.
6-card hand can be completely reasonable.
It's a matchup where there's going to be battles on the stack. There's going to be fights to defend and to remove opposing creatures. But on top of that, you just need to be proactive the whole time because both decks can just win very quickly. Burn has some turn 3s. Infect has some turn 2s. So you need to be both pretty quick and able to fight these fights on the stack. You need to be able to respond to burn spells. So Zan is looking for multiple things in an opening hand, which makes it hard to go to 5, but justifiable to go to 6 pretty often.
So post-board, does this, because of these cards like Destructive Revelry, Wild Defiance, does the matchup slow down appreciably or just a bit?
It slows down some, but burn doesn't change enough where it stops threatening turn 4s pretty easily.
Okay, we're never cutting the lava spikes. We're not.
Yeah, I would assume no. I would be more inclined to be looking at 2-mana things. Skullcrack is the easiest cut in the main deck. That one is flat out.
Usually you see Rift Bolt as the next one off. That one I guess can go at creatures.
Yeah, that one's pretty mopey, but it can be quite good.
Goblin Guide in, shows a Blossoming Defense. Zan will drop to 18.
It's a good one to know about.
Yeah. I just always assume my Infect opponent has one of those.
Fair enough.
Usually do.
Yeah.
No,
you won't be wrong too often.
Noble Hierarch from Zan Syed. Back to Robert. All right. We're on our backup match. New backup match. Tannen Grace takes game 1 over Thomas Mathers.
Wow.
If he pulls off that upset, Ryan, that's... If Tannen wins a tournament consecutively taking Tron and beating Land Destruction, KCI, the winner of this, I don't care which one it is, they're both horrible matchups for him.
Right.
Like, that's just destiny.
Yeah. Yeah, making a really great run of it here. Goblin Guide came in and revealed another Blossoming Defense.
Ooh, I like that card a lot. 1's fine, 2, I don't know. Now Robert makes Grim Lavamancer. That's just an excellent card against Infect.
Yeah, that one makes things rough. Currently, no cards in Robert's graveyard, but that's not going to last. Never takes too long to turn a Lavamancer live. Zan's going to need to get an Infect creature online, but he wants to be able to fight over potential spells in Robert's hand and then also this Lavamancer.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be really hard to do. I guess a Wild Defiance would take care of all of this if he had it. Otherwise, he can try to not play around it. I mean, Robert doesn't have any cards in the graveyard yet. It's not a line I like taking. Yeah, fetch land. Now there will be 2 cards in the graveyard for sure.
Right. And Robert just shocked on the previous turn and had a mana unused. It really feels like he has Lightning Bolt. To be fair, that bluff is relatively free. In fact, almost never is going to win the game with just regular damage. This is not a matchup where I would expect that to happen basically ever. Yeah,
you see that sometimes in matchups against control decks where they're just, fatal pushing your Infectors and then you turn around and hit them with a Hierarch. But not like this. An attack with Goblin Guide. Zan cracks a fetch land. All right, cracks a fetch land. Don't think there's too many instants he could have. He's going to get Dryad Arbor. Looks like he's going to try for a block pump to remove Goblin Guide.
Yeah, that'll force some action.
Well, it's some action. I mean, it could force the action of this Grim Lavamancer. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting setup.
Right, and there's the reveal. Glistener Elf revealed off the Goblin Guide.
Well, our overall 1 seed got another update here. Moving on. Still only 1 loss in the tournament. Chad Harney on Hollow One defeats Adam Case 2-1.
That's about right for my Hollow One versus Tron experience.
Tron got 1.
Yep.
Not 2.
They do sometimes.
Yep. That sounds about right. I felt like he had enough play to get a game, but the match probably not.
Right.
So, back to our game at hand. So we still see before blocks. Looks like our removal spell is going to be pointed. Lightning Bolt at the Dryad Arbor. Or is this upstairs?
I think it's upstairs.
Ooh, okay.
Setting up to activate the Lavamancer. Doesn't really make a huge deal. I believe that we're still before declare blockers.
Part of me doesn't want to spend any of this burn on the Dryad Arbor. I kind of just want to, if he wants to use Blossoming Defense and kill the Guide, almost just want to let it happen.
Well, I'll tell you what is definitely clear. Zan is trying to make you use a removal spell on the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
Now, what level is it? Is it level 1? This is obvious. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Is it trying to make you think this is what I want? I believe that this is just what Zan wants you to hit the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, trade your burn spells with my Dryad Arbor sounds fine. I'm not buying it if I'm Robert. I'm just bidding the Goblin Guide. I guess it depends on how much burn is left in his hand. There's a good argument for doing nothing. He's got looks like a Helix, a Bolt, and a land.
Yeah.
So Zan at right now, if all those you add those together, it's 8 damage. I like this. Robert bins the Goblin Guide. Well played.
So he would only he could fight back, but then you just get the other defense, and then you're just out of stuff.
I love it. Heads up move on Mendoza's part. Syed doesn't have a clock. Just hang out. This Grim Lavamancer plus the top card of your deck, that'll finish it.
Now, Zan drawing that Glistener Elf. He'd be exposing it to this Lavamancer activation, and Robert has the Lightning Bolt in hand and the Lightning Helix. Can fire all kinds of stuff at that creature.
Dryad Arbor will attack. And that's just 1 point of damage. Robert to 14.
It takes a lot of cards to...
Actually, 2.
Sure. Yeah, it takes a lot of cards to get in for just regular damage with Infect, but Robert's life total relatively low.
He's at 13. Say go, Robert. We'll see if he sends this Lavamancer at the Glistener Elf or at Zan. It's going to go upstairs. Zan to 10. And looks like then he'll bolt him down to 7.
He still has Lightning Helix plus Lavamancer up on the following turn.
Yeah, he doesn't need too much more.
He can hang back, see if Zan commits something if he does fight over it. If not, then it just takes one more card to go into the graveyard, and you'll be able to Helix, Lavamancer, and that's lethal.
All right, Robert to Eidolon of the Great Revel. I'm pretty into cast this right now, Ryan. Robert goes to 11. I don't think... How's Zan going to kill you with pump spells if Eidolon's in play?
Makes it a lot harder. Yeah, Zan's already at 7. You
Yeah.
don't get too many spells from that spot. The Lavamancer alone puts Zan at a virtual 5.
He's going to Helix Zan to 4. Looks like not going for the Eidolon.
I think he's casting that after the Helix, and that means Zan can only cast 1 spell.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
He's debating if he wants to hold back activation or cast Eidolon. It's a choice. I think I like the Eidolon more, like you were saying. 1 spell. I don't see how we die in 1 turn with 1 spell.
The fear would be Zan having a sideboard Nature's Claim in hand.
Okay, well, he'd still go to 2, right?
Yeah. And then, you're going to win on the following turn. The question is, do you necessarily have a following turn?
Yeah. If he just attacks with Glistener Elf, you don't really want to chump your Lavamancer, but you don't want to die.
Right.
That's fair. Well, I don't think Great Revel's in play. Now we're going to see if Zan has that Nature's Claim.
We do know that he has a fistful of spells. There was
Right.
no land drop last turn.
There are claims in his sideboard. Tapping for something. It's probably Nature's Claim.
There's not a lot that he can do at the end step.
I think it's Blossoming Defense on Glistener Elf. This is in response.
Putting cards in the graveyard for a Become
Oh, okay.
Immense.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, but it's not lethal. Even if he has a Become Immense.
Become Immense plus another pump spell would be, though,
Okay.
because he has the Exalted trigger.
Looks like he has mutagenic growths as some of the pump spells, and you actually can't cast those for 0 anymore.
Yeah.
Here's Glistener Elf exalting to a 2/2. So, man, with 3 mana. Yeah, mutagenic plus Become Immense would do it.
Yeah. I think that Zan was setting up to top deck the Become Immense. I'm not sure that's in his hand. We'll find out.
Ryan,
The other thing Zan gets to do is he kind of gets to check for remembering Eidolon triggers.
yeah.
It's like Robert asked for some Become Immense Oracle text.
I think on that last turn, Ryan, I like a different sequence from Robert. I think I like playing Eidolon and leaving up mana. Then on this attack, you chump away the Eidolon, shoot Zan to 5 with Lavamancer, untap and burn for 5. That way, you can't brick anymore.
Yeah.
Now, Glistener Elf trades with the Eidolon. We go back, Zan replaces Glistener Elf. Any burn spell off the top wins it for Robert. A land, and he has another turn to survive.
Right. He has enough fuel if the Lavamancer goes upstairs twice, if he's able to execute on that.
Just says go. Looks like it was a land. And now we have to ask whether or not Robert will block when Zan attacks.
Something like a Searing Blood would be an unfortunate top deck, as we know Zan's still hanging out. That was the card he threw. It was Blossoming Defense. I guess we don't know about it, but he does have Vines in hand.
Well, he had 2 Blossoming Defenses, right? We saw the guides reveal 2.
He had 1 on Goblin Guide, 1 there to build the Become Immense.
Okay, he threw the 1 away. Well, not threw it away. They put it there for Become Immense.
Right. Yeah, he could have baited or tossed the card, done Vines instead of defense. Don't know if that's going to make any difference in this game. Play here. Likely going to be to chip in with the Glistener Elf. Maybe as lethal, maybe he doesn't.
Wild Defiance from Zan.
Okay, well that means if the Lavamancer is going to go at a creature, it has to happen now.
Yeah, that forces the action. Zan may have found a way to win this, so hold on.
He has at least 1 Vines of Vastwood in hand. He has Mutagenic Growth as well.
But what happens, Ryan, if Robert just says no blocks? Zan can't get to 10 poison here, can he?
As far as I know, not in a way that does not cause the Lavamancer to go upstairs and win the game.
Well, if he fetches, hold on, if he fetches. No, this works if he has a
Become
Immense.
Yeah.
Just 1 Become Immense, does it?
If he does have the Become Immense.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know that Robert can beat Become Immense anymore now that Defiance is in play.
The Lavamancer doesn't do it.
So Robert's choices are to check him on Become Immense or to block and hope to top deck a burn spell.
I mean, he has sideboard Deflecting Palms. Maybe there's not a ton of cards that brick in this situation.
I think we saw no blocks, Ryan. Hold on. Is this the Become Immense to win?
I mean, everything else loses.
It's Vines. Now Zan's just hoping, hey, you got to target.
Yeah, I think he's trying to force an error here.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants Robert to target the Glistener Elf.
Right.
Don't do that. You'll lose if you do that. If you target Zan, you win.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't play against Wild Defiance. It's a line. He's hoping to draw an error here. Right. Robert's just got to stay on target.
And Robert's reading the Wild Defiance, so that should
that's a good sign for Zan.
That is bad for Zan.
All right, 2. Oh, he's shooting the Glistener. He shot the. Oh no, he messed it up. He shot the Glistener Elf, and then Zan pumps it with Mutagenic Growth. It worked. He baited in the mistake, and it paid off.
Wow. Well played by Zan Syed.
That is an incredible. Zan Syed finding victory on a board where he had lost.